Hello everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Media Voices on Prince Media Television. Today we are going to do things a little bit different. We are bringing to you a new program that is going to focus on issues concerning business. The name of this program is going to be named The Business Hustle. In today's episode of Business Hustle, we are going to take a look at one of the first hot topics that has been trending throughout this week and a few days of last week. The issue of government taking over money that is on dormant accounts by various individuals.
Or something like that. Now, in Uganda, I think we've been more lenient. Now, in Uganda, most of the practices that have been there will continue. And what is happening here, and this is with the laws that have previously been passed. The practice that we have here, and likely this will continue, is that after account goes dormant after 2 years, then after 2 years, when the account is declared dormant, the bank has to advertise, the commercial banks have to advertise, that this account has not been active or is dormant for this number of period. After it has advertised that the account is dormant, you're expected to show up in about 3 years. Sorry, in a period of 1 year after the 2 years. So that's a period of 3 years. You're expected to show up. If you don't show up, then the unclaimed balances are transferred to the central bank. And you can claim the money from the central bank. They shouldn't open an account when they're not ready to do the banking, when they don't have money continuously put there. 2, if you've opened an account, probably try to reduce them so that you don't forget that you have an account here, you have an account there. Then 3, that try to keep your address up to date. At least if you are moving, then you can put probably next of kin. You can put somebody there that the bank can contact to say you have money in your account, but you've not been active. We can initiate amendments on your behalf. So the solution is not doing something about it. There are problems. We have to find a way of how those problems can be resolved. And what's the best way? Come up with suggestions.
When you look at the issue of dormant accounts, it is quite a big topic and a hefty discussion. This kind of discussion of government taking over dormant accounts is quite a huge one. Because when you try to recall, when somebody wants to invest, wants to save their money, plan for their early retirement, or plan for retirement, carry out any insurance policy, either it may be health or it may be for something else. In most cases, they approach financial institutions, and some of these include banks, insurance companies, SACCOs, and many other financial institutions, including even the recent one, mobile money. When you look at government's plan to take over or close accounts that are dormant and transfer the money to whichever accounts they decide to, it has caused discussions in public. Some people have criticized this move. Others that are within government have supported this move, that it is going to help the country in one way or the other. But as a Ugandan, what do you need to put into consideration as government plans to carry out this move? Or it has even maybe passed some legislations. One of the legislations that they have passed that you need to pay attention to as a Ugandan who is having an account that has been dormant, whether you're in the States or you're in the Arab world countries and you're working, or you are within Uganda here and you have any dormant account that you have ignored for quite some time. The legislation is called the National Payment Systems Act 2020. When you look at this legislation, it aims to do a number of things, among others. One, regulate payment systems in the country. Two, provide safety and efficiency of payment systems within the country. Three, regulate the issuance of electronic money. When you look at regulating the issuance of electronic money, this brings in platforms like mobile money, payments that are made online, whereby this is mobile money, transactions that are made when somebody sends you money from, for instance, is in the States, and sends you money to your account or to your phone, such kind of transactions. Then the last one, regulate the payment service providers. Here, what this act, the National Payment Systems Act 2020, aims to do is regulating payment service providers. This will include things like the telecom companies or any other companies that deal in transferring or transactions of different amounts of money. So when you look at this new policy, it will help aim to regulate these providers. But as the government comes to or has passed legislations or has plans to take over money that is on the various dormant accounts throughout the country, what does this mean for the business sector? Or what does this mean for an individual who is working? For instance, these number of youth that go to the various Arab countries and have gone to work, or you are within the country here and you're saving your money and you plan to use it maybe after 10 years, 20 years, and you're saving it on a particular account. For instance, most of these banks, you can have an account in banks like Centenary, Stanbic, Standard Chartered, EcoBank, Finance Trust, and many other banks or financial institutions that we have in the country. But if you are to listen to what various government people have commented on this issue of taking up money that is on the various dormant accounts, what does this mean for you as an individual that has a bank account? When you look at some of the stories that have been published over the years about the failings of various financial institutions, it leaves a big question. Take, for instance, one of the recent ones, the closure of Crane Bank. All that took place, the discussions that were there, the committees that were instituted, and in the end, recommendations were made, but government has not acted on these recommendations. The amount of money that was spent, for instance, to close Crane Bank was less or half of what Crane Bank needed in order to revive its operations. The closure of banks like Tefe that was closed many years ago, closure of the famous Greenland Bank that was closed years ago. Did the government learn any lesson from the closure of such financial institutions? A few weeks ago, I think around 2-3 months ago, around a month or two ago, one of the clients from one of the banks here in Uganda, I think I'll even go ahead and mention the bank, Equity Bank, she complained that her money, this particular customer complained that her money was being taken in a very rare situation. After complaints, on social media and seeking advice from different people. She did an interview with one of the media houses saying that they sorted out the issue and she was able to get her money. But why does a customer have to wait for her money to disappear like that? What are institutions like the Uganda Bankers Associations doing? Such associations should be in place to check these irregularities, whereby banks mysteriously take over or deduct huge sums, either huge sums of money or small sums of money over a period of time, and the customers have nowhere to go or have nowhere to turn to. Some time ago, a number of people complained about fraudsters that give them calls from the different telecom companies, the likes of MTN, Airtel, Africell, and all the defunct Africell, because Africell is now closing. Various unscrupulous people call customers, making them to have a feel that they have won something, or there is a promotion and they have won particular amounts of money. In the end, they end up losing their money on their mobile money accounts. Financial institutions have their own failings. Instead of taking over somebody's money just because the account has been dormant, it doesn't make any economic sense. Put the right regulations. You may pass all the regulations that you need as government, but have they helped to stop the various scandals that are taking place in the various banks in the country? Now and again, many banks are closing. Where are these reports? When Greenland Bank, TFA, Crane Bank, and the many other banks that have closed in the country, have the reports been made public to know why a particular bank closed? Have the culprits or the criminals that were responsible for the failings in the closure of these banks been brought to book? Have security organs done their due diligence in carrying out the upright investigations or the in-depth investigations in why the scandals that take place in these various banks? So as I conclude today's program of Business Hustle, I personally think that government's planned move to take over money that is on dormant accounts, it may be a right move, but you need to do enough research. Why do people keep on putting money for this long time, or are using these bank accounts and they have huge sums of money? Find out why. Nowadays, some people are running away from using banks. People keep money in their houses. People keep money in foreign banks. Have you put in place the right regulations to make sure this money is protected? Thank you everyone that was watching today's episode of Business Hustle on Prince Media Television. You can follow us on our various social media platforms. On Facebook, we are Prince TV. YouTube, we are Prince Media Television. Enjoy your weekend.